The Tower Lane, Billy, it's the SSP Kenner Dragster. Jim Booker, 33-year-old Cincinnati, Ohio veteran, with a best time of 6:07, 236 miles per hour, turned to Gainesville, Florida at the Gator Nationals. This machine held the national record, Billy, and it is Chevrolet powered. That's what's so fantastic about this incredible machine.
6-0 times are nothing new for Jimmy Booker in the Tower Lane as he brings up the SSP Kenner machine in lane number 2. They now remove the tow push bar off the back of the car. In lane number 1, Gene Domogowski has come off the roller starts and is under power. Goodyear tires supply the bite for lane 2. M&H Racemaster setting on the rear of the Frito Bandito Spectator Lane.
500 cubic inches of Chrysler in the Spectator Lane, going up against 454 cubic inches of aluminum Chevrolet in the Tower Lane.
And here come the burnouts in the Tower Lane. Booker up on the hides, and now in lane 1, Domogowski. And Jimmy Booker's Goodyears really grew on that burnout Tower Lane.
Boy, oh boy, Billy, look at the difference in configuration. Jim Booker running the high, lean spoiler high over the midsection of his machine. Gene Domogowski in the Frito Bandito has the heavier spoiler set at a much lower angle of attack directly over the rear wheels.
Jimmy Booker, Tower Lane, bringing the SSP Kenner machine back. A great-looking car that runs every bit as good as it looks. Domogowski, lane number 1, sitting down in the cockpit, ready to bring that car up. Very, very patiently ready for this qualifying run. Booker, Tower Lane, Thundermaker Chevrolet, capable of 5-second runs. And lane 1, Domogowski, best ever 6.30.
The big 2,000 horsepower thoroughbreds of drag racing. Moving up to the starting line, Frito Bandito, Spectator Lane is staged. The SSP Kenner Rail, Tower Lane stage. Out of the gate, the Frito Bandito moves. Booker blows a supercharger right out of the gate, exploding the engine. Frito Bandito, your winner, Spectator Lane.
In lane number 1, the Frito Bandito of Gene Domogowski goes through at 6:47, 234 miles per hour, and boy, did lane 2 Booker ever let go. Oh, wow.
Boy, he really absolutely exploded that machine, Billy. $7,500 worth of engine, supercharger, and injectors laying all over the racetrack.
And a path of oil from start line to finish line. Oh, boy, did Booker ever let that one go. That was an unreal explosion and had to equal the blower that was kicked here earlier in the season by Mike Burkhart machine driven by David Ray. That is Heartbreak City.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we have a break in the action, all you youngsters, if you'll get out your little SSP catalog, we'll give you the winning number, and you can go in the spectator side to the crossover building and pick up your winnings. On the tower side, you can go to the goodie booth, which is the orange and white building just down track of the tower here. So if all you youngsters will get out your little SSP catalogs, we'll give you the winning number. And the winning number today is any number ending in 2. Any youngster with an SSP catalog with a number ending in 2, go to the crossover building on the spectator side and to the goodie booth here on the tower side and pick up your Kenner SSP toy, courtesy of the Kenner SSP Company and Jimmy Booker and the SSP Dragster.
And Ben Dick LaHaye's down on the starting line now, walking along lane 2 with the fire suit on. He's taking a look at the track, trying to figure out exactly to him what he's going to have to do for his qualifying run. And of course, it is an important run. It's not just a match race type setup. They are running for extra money today. The further you go, the more you win. So he has to get qualified here. It's going to be a very important thing. The flip of the coin probably has already been made, and his lane is decided for him. So Dick has a very tough task upcoming in lane number 2.
And Dick walking back, just shaking his head, Billy, knowing that he's really has his work cut out. An incredible driver, Dick LaHaye. He came here to US 30 for the first time and put away 4 of the toughest national touring cars in the United States. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the roller starts, two of the great National Touring AA fuel dragsters attempting to qualify. Remember, the low winning elapsed time moves into the number 1 position. The low overall elapsed time into the number 2 position. These two machines meet in the finals.
In lane number 1, the car on the right side of the roller starts. Looking from the timing tower will be the car coming up in the right lane, Marvin Schwartz from Clearwater, Florida. Al Sedita, the mechanic on the car. This guy has been at it for many moons. He started with Big Daddy Don Garlitz in 1961, and now he's one of Garlitz's biggest nemesis. They met in the final at Tulsa at the PRA meet. Marvin Schwartz fell in that final run, but he ran 6 elapsed times before Garlitz could take him out. In lane number 1, one of the great drag racers of all time, Marvin Schwartz.
In the tower lane, it's 31-year-old Dick LaHaye, the quiet man, in his 7th low and fuel dragster of his career, 473 cubic inches of Sid Waterman Chrysler.
Schwartz in lane number 1 with a 520-inch Dodge on his burnout. And now comes LaHaye, tower lane. Do you believe 520 cubic inches on a 3/4-inch arm on Marvin Schwartz's machine in lane 1? If you don't understand drag racing paraphernalia or drag racing terminology, the 520-inch arm means that he has a big, or the 3/4-inch arm means that he has a big crank in that machine, 3/4-inch extra lift on it, and he is really putting out some cubic inches that in conversion figure out to be tremendous horsepower. So he should have probably about, probably 2,200 horsepower to work with on that machine in lane 1, Ben.
That is the biggest engine in drag racing, Billy. There's only 2 other people running that engine, and Marvin Schwartz is running it in a dragster. Barry Setzer runs it in a funny car.
Marvin sitting down there very patiently waiting for Dick LaHaye, tower lane, to back up. LaHaye looked like he tried to straddle the oil streak tower lane on the burnout. He is now ready. Dick LaHaye, tower lane, Marvin Schwartz, spectator lane.
And look at the way that Marvin Schwartz has those wheels cantered in, Billy. We don't see very many people that try that configuration on a dragster. Marvin does things differently. And on green, Marvin makes the move. He's got one open on LaHaye. LaHaye is after him, straddling the oil at the finish line. Marvin Schwartz, spectator lane.
Marvin Schwartz in the spectator lane with the quickest time so far at 6:42. 6:42, 225 miles an hour for Schwartz in the spectator lane.
Dick LaHaye, second best in the tower lane at 6:53 and a top mile per hour, 226 miles per hour. So in the number 1 position, Marvin Schwartz from Clearwater, Florida, 6:42, 225. Meeting him in the finals, the Frito Bandito at 6:47, 234 miles per hour. Well, Billy, he really did some job of hanging on to that machine, got it all straightened around. Didn't seem to be too upset with himself. Straightened it out, took it down the other lane, and I'm sure he'll get back there and figure out what's wrong with it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move into the quarterfinal round of 8 of the Super Pro Stocks.
This quarterfinal round of 8 features the 8 quickest cars from the qualifying round up for their first elimination. In lane 1, it's the Bill White, Mike Ross entry from Hammond, Indiana. A car owned by Joe Satmary, sponsored by Van Sinnes Auto Parts, 73 Camaro. He qualified number 7 at 976, 147 miles an hour.
In the tower lane, Kenny Perry and Uncle John Bay's machine from Lockport, Illinois, sponsored by John Bay's Used Cars, the 1973 Camaro. Kenny Perry qualified in at 954, 147 miles per hour.
Spectator lane entrant, Billy White, tower lane, John Bay's car driven by Kenny Perry. Both of them are about ready now. Kenny Perry bringing the car up to the starting line. Lane number 1, Bill White down there apparently has a problem with that Camaro. He lost fire in it. And we'll have to wait momentarily and see. They're telling him to cut it off. I believe he lost something in the engine. It looks like moisture is gathering underneath the car in lane number 1. So the Tower Lane, Kenny Perry, down there set, and will get the odd man run here in this Pro Stock competition.
Kenny Perry going down, getting the odd man run in the Tower Lane. And he stops the computers at a tough 9.78 with a top mile per hour of 144, staying right in stride, Billy.
Definitely running well, the Kenny Perry Uncle John Bay's machine. The Joe Satmary Camaro now hooked up down there to the tow strap, and they get ready to tow off the racetrack. Bill White. What a tough break for Bill. The car was running well coming out here today, and they've only had this car out twice now. Already have the car running 960, so they should be very, very tough competition for everybody else in Pro Stock. And once again, that 10-foot tow strap is like 50 miles long. We now continue, ladies and gentlemen, with the quarterfinal round in Pro Stock Eliminator. Up to the bleach burnout area, spectator lane will be Frank Getchell from New Lenox, Illinois. 68 Camaro 427 equipped, qualified number 5 at 968.7, 144.
In the Tower Lane, the Chicago Chevrolet dealers, Gary Drink, Motorsport Research prepared from Arlington Heights, Illinois, the 73 Vega.
Both cars in the bleach box coming out on their burnouts, and Drink lays down a great path Tower Lane in that thundering Vega.
Gary Drink qualified number 1 with a 944, 147 miles per hour.
The hustler, Frank Getchell, spectator lane after the first burnout, bringing the machine back. 1968 Camaro 427 that Frank sets in the saddle of. There comes burnout number 2 as he makes the dry hookup burnout look good.
Well, Billy, I can see Frank Getchell really letting fly on this one, trying to catch that light. Gary Drink on the first round didn't hit that light very well. Of course, he might not have been trying to hit it that well because it was the qualifying round, but I would say that he cannot let Getchell get too far out on him.
Well, the 0.2 of a difference right now between the two machines is not really all that great down here on the starting line, and I would say those 0.2 represent about a car length. So if Getchell can move that much on Gary Drink, he could have him in trouble. Drink in the Tower Lane, however, I would say rates among the best as far as moving on the tree. So I don't think he's going to let Frank get out too far on him. He may play it a little cautious, but I'm sure he will not be overly cautious. Frank brings the car up now, spectator lane. Gary already in the beam, Tower Lane.
The hustler eases into the blue light. The tree begins its countdown. And on green, the hustler, Getchell, with a half a car length on Drink, but no way. The Chicagoland Chevrolet dealers makes the move. Tower Lane, your winner, with another fantastic 942 top mile per hour, 147 miles per hour.
In the spectator lane, Getchell gave it a good try at 971, 144 miles an hour, but Gary Drink, Tower Lane, gets the win. The next car up, spectator lane, Jim Pullman, South Holland, Illinois. 1972 Vega 468, a very tough machine.
In the Tower Lane, it's the superstar, Frank Galinsky from Calumet, Illinois. Van Santa-sponsored Camaro, qualified in at 982, 144 miles per hour, an all 9-second quarterfinal field.
Superstar Tower Lane, Frank Galinsky in the number 8 spot. Pullman in lane 1 in the number 4 spot. And about 0.2 of a second separate these two machines, with Pullman in lane 1 the quicker of the two qualifiers. Vega going against Camaro once again.
Jim Pullman checking out to make sure he's right in his tracks. Gives it a little click, moves it forward. Galinsky, the superstar, the tough Camaro in the Tower Lane, moving forward. Pullman running extremely well. He's got this little Vega performing.
He certainly The 8 cars that qualified this afternoon for the program, 5 of them were Camaros, 3 of them Vegas. Number 1 into the beam. Superstar Tower Lane set. The lights go green, and out of the gate, Superstar stays right with Jim Pullman. But Golensky's having handling problems, and that loses him about a car length on the top end. Pullman Lane 1, the winner, 971, 145.
Frank Golensky, Superstar, skating the quarter mile at 10 seconds flat, 141 miles per hour.
So now Jim Pullman joins Gary Drink and Kenny Perry in the semifinal round as we come to the last pair in this quarterfinal round. Lane 1, George Balhan, Hazel Crest, Illinois. King Speed Shot sponsored 73, Vega. This one, Balhan, Holger, and Tilly maintained is very tough. They qualified number 2 at 9:53, 147.
In the Tower Lane, the shotgun of the Super Pro Stock drivers, Jerry Krasinski and Jerry and Jean's Pit Stop Gang Camaro. The old Bonnie and Clyde team qualifying in at 971, 146 miles per hour.
And in this quarterfinal round, if one race had to be considered fairly even because of the move by one of the 2 competitors on the light, I would say it would have to be this one. Krasinski Tower Lane, even though he's almost 2 tenths behind Balhan in time, can definitely make it up. Jerry is really good on the light, and George will have all he can handle on this run.
As you said, Billy, 2 tenths is 1 good car length out of the gate, and we've seen Jerry Krasinski time after time do that, pull that 1 car length gate job out of the gate, put the favored competitor out. Let's see if he can do it again this time. Balhan looks as though he is cocked in the staging gate, Billy, and Jerry Krasinski looks like he's flat in the groove.
Krasinski Tower Lane slowly coming up. He doesn't want much of that blue light. If you don't think he's not going for it, you are mistaken. He's going to shoot the lights, and here he comes, and Krasinski makes the move. He's out there half a car length and moving well. Lane number 1, George Balhan pushing top end. He's going to have a tough time, and it is lane number 1. What a run. Balhan had to really go on the top end to get around him. 9:54 for George Balhan. 9:54, 149. But wait till you hear the time on Krasinski Tower Lane.
Jerry Krasinski with his best run of the year, Billy, a 9:67, 145 miles per hour. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the semifinal round, it will be 3 Vegas and 1 Camaro as the upper bracket holds its own in the quarterfinal round. Kenny Perry with a best of 9:54, 147 miles per hour will have the lone Camaro in the program. In the number 2 position will be Gary Drake with the number 1 qualifying low elapsed time of the meet, 9:42, 147 miles per hour.
Jim Pullman in another Vega, his best time 9:66, 146, and George Balhan with 2 950s, the quicker of the 2, 9:53, 147, and once again another Vega. So 3 Vegas and 1 Camaro in the semifinal round of Pro Stock competition. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the second round of the National Touring Wheel Stand Champions. In lane number 1, the world's quickest 2-wheel machine, and by 2 wheels I mean that's the way he runs the quarter mile. The Hemi Underglass wheel stander of Bob Riggle with Zach Zakola as the mechanic on this machine. He has been as quick down the quarter mile as 9:42, 160 miles an hour. That is a world record 2-wheel stand run.
And Bob Riggle this year, Billy, moving into the flip-top funny car type configuration with his wheel standing machine. In the Tower Lane, talk about configuration. Jack Ermentrout in Bob Perry's Hell on Wheel tag, sponsored by the United States Army.
Hell on Wheels in the Tower Lane, coming down to the bleach box, ready to have the VHT poured underneath the tires. And I don't even know how the mechanic can find the tires. I certainly don't see them from here. Lane number 2, Hell on Wheels, the Army-sponsored Sherman tank. And in the spectator lane, Bob Riggle, Hemi Underglass, and here comes Bad Bobby. Oh, have you ever heard horsepower out of a tank like that? Wow, Hell on Wheels, Tower Lane, Jack Ermentrout.
And Billy, you notice the Bob Perry tradition there with the stacks coming out of that tank, the big stacks, just like he used to have on his old wheel standing machine.
That's right. At one time, of course, he was touring a Corvette wheel stander called the Fugitive, and the exhaust stacks were very identical to the ones you see on this tank. Notice the real long wheelie bars coming way out the back of Hell on Wheels here in the tower lane. They jut way out behind it, and that is unusual. Lane number 1, Wriggles probably come back about 2 feet from the rear wheels, where the tower lane seems to be more like 3 to 3.5 feet.
All right, Billy, they're moving forward. Bob Riggle moving up to the staging beam. Jack Ermentrout, the Hell on Wheels tank, moves forward as they prepare to stage. Riggle getting the win in the first heat.
Bob Riggle, lane number 1, very capable of well over 1,300-foot runs on 2 wheels, and both of them go airborne. The Hell on Wheels tank this time's carried it a long way, but Riggle in lane 1 running away from him. Riggle on a great pass spectator lane, but both of them go all the way, and the tank has made the full 13-20 pass in the tower lane.
Absolutely an incredible performance by both of these beautiful machines.
Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, and in lane number 1, the time on Riggle, 10:41 at 133 miles an hour, a 2-wheel run to the quarter mile. Both of them made it all the way.
The Hell on Wheels tank with a great 12:41, 104 miles per hour up on the half track. Coming back right now, Jack Ermentrout. Let's hear it for him, ladies and gentlemen. An unusual and spectacular machine.
The wheel standing Hell on Wheels Sherman tank coming down spectator lane. A US 30 welcome for him now for that full 1,320-foot pass. And apparently he wants a little bit more of the action, race fans. He goes back into lane number 1, and Ermentrout is not through yet. He comes back down to the starting line and wants to make another run, apparently, in the Hell on Wheels tank. And how can you do any better than he just did on the last run? But Jack wants another shot at it, and he'll do it this time in lane 1.
Incredible, Billy. This guy is really something else.
He certainly is, Ben, and on this run he did not quite get it up all the way like he did on the first one, but still he's driving it all the way through in lane number 1. He went through at 136 miles an hour on that run, but of course it was down, all 4 wheels on the ground.
That's a moving tank.
The championship run in the AA Fuel Dragsters is down on the roller starts and about ready to take place. Dick LaHaye, who was the number 3 qualifier in the qualifying round and was not a good enough time to get him in, will come in as the replacement car because of the breakage on Frito Bandito, Gene Domagowski's machine. They kicked a rod out of the car on the run, so they will not be back and will be replaced by Dick LaHaye. This time, LaHaye, who apparently has won the coin toss, chose the right lane because the last time down the track he had the left lane, and of course the left lane did not offer the bite he was looking for because we had had an oil droppage problem earlier.
Coming up now from the bottom end of the racetrack, ladies and gentlemen, the Hemi Underglass coming your way. Please give him a nice round of applause for this spectacular machine as he comes by you. Boy, that's really an unusual looking machine, Billy. It looks like a super fuel funny car and runs like a rocket.
That's just unbelievable. Bob Riggle has done a tremendous job once again here this afternoon at US 30. The body up as he's being towed down the track, and if you didn't know that it wasn't a funny car, you'd have an awful tough time finding out. About the only thing would tell you that it may not be a funny car is the fact that the engine sets behind the driver. But there are a couple of rear-engine funny cars in existence. They are rare. I don't think Riggle would have a lot of trouble converting this into a regular funny car. It's probably a little bit heavier than a funny car, but nevertheless, it has a very distinct resemblance to the Super Fuel funny cars. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a great round of applause to the captain himself, Bob Riggle, Hemi Underglass.
And he's really a big dude, Billy. That Bob Riggle really fills that entire roll cage. He comes in to talk to him. You kind of look up at him. Him and Kenny Safford would make a good combination.
One thing Bob Riggle never lacks to have, Ben, and that is a big, broad smile on his face. He's always in a happy-go-lucky, good mood. A great guy, Captain Bob Riggle, the Hemi Underglass pilot.
And here comes Jack Ehrmantraut, Billy, and he's hanging out of the cockpit there of his tank. Let's hear it for Jack Ehrmantraut, fans, as he comes by you, the Hell on Wheels tank from Florida.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He is conqueror of all in this machine. And as you said before, it's just hard to believe that he is able to put that thing in the air at all. It just seems like the only thing it should do is just kind of putt-putt down the track. And now a great US 30 welcome, race fans, for Jack Ehrmantraut's Hell on Wheels.
Some looking machine.
Boy, he sets out of that cockpit area just a lot like they would if they were having a regular tank like they did back in those days of World War II. It sure resembles that a lot. That's something.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, in preparations for the finals of the National Touring AA Fuel Dragsters.
The championship of today's event is on the roller starts. In the right lane, Dick LaHaye, 31-year-old Lansing, Michigan-based driver, 12 years in drag racing, has now fired his machine up and starts his way to the bleach box burnout area.
In the tower lane, Marvin Schwartz from Clearwater, Florida, the biggest drag racing engine in the United States, 520 cubic inch of 5/8-inch stroker Chrysler, self-built with a best time of 6:14, 234 miles per hour.
Dick LaHaye up on the haunches and through the burnout in lane number 1. And here comes 520-inch motored Marv Schwartz tower lane.
Over 2,000 horsepower each, Billy, as they unleash it. And one of the amazing things is to watch the way those tires grow when they hit the throttle.
Boy, that's just unbelievable, Ben, and that is the reason that they are so wide. The wider they are, the more they can grow in height. And of course, that makes a big difference in the rear end ratio. So the cars are set to take all those things into consideration. LaHaye in lane number 1, looking for revenge against Marv Schwartz tower lane. In the qualifying round, it was Schwartz to the quarter-mile quicker in lane number 2.
And Marvin throwing out some nitro there, Billy. Either the machine is really loaded heavy, or it may be ailing in that number 1 bank there on the left side.
Looks like the number 1 cylinder left bank is ailing a little bit. He is throwing some vapor out of there. He could be pumping his overflow water in there, but it's doubtful with as much vapor coming out of that header. LaHaye in lane 1 looks to have a problem in the right bank in one of the cylinders over there, but it doesn't seem to be like Marv Schwartz is in the tower lane. I think Schwartz is clearing up a little bit on him in lane 2, though, Ben. Doesn't look as bad as it did. LaHaye in lane number 1 has really got a load in the car for this final run. He's up to the nitro in this championship run.
Okay, Billy, they move forward. Schwartz is staged, LaHaye is staged. The tree comes down. On green, they move. LaHaye, Schwartz, wheel to wheel. Schwartz moves out into the lead of the tower lane. At the finish line, Marv Schwartz, incredible time. Listen to this, fans, 6:28. 6:28. 234 miles per hour for starving Marvin Schwartz from Clearwater, Florida, your winner today.
In the spectator lane, Dick LaHaye came back with another great performance, 6:41, 229 miles an hour.